Sandy Brondello out as head coach of the New York Liberty. In a statement released by the team, it says in part, quote, Sandy finishes her tenure in New York as the winningest coach in franchise history. She's also one of 2 coaches in the WNBA history, all time, to win a title with multiple franchises. And her 40 playoff wins, they are the second most all time behind Cheryl Reeves. And she took us to never seen before heights as the first head coach to lead the Liberty to a championship. They ended by saying, we wish Sandy the very best in her next chapter.
Sandy Brondello just became the winningest coach in Liberty history and then got fired. Let that sink in for a second. She delivered a championship, opened this season with a historic 9-game run, and still, the organization decided she wasn't the one. So what happened? Did injuries to Stewart and Jones sink her chances?
Alexa, this was surprising for a lot of folks this morning. A year removed from winning the title, what exactly led to the parting of ways between the Liberty and Sandy Brondello here?
Maybe a little startling to fans outside, given how, excuse me for those noises, for how impactful she'd been for that franchise. But, well, Malika, I know you guys talk about this a lot in the NBA and in other sports, but it was really championship or bust for New York and for Sandy Brondello. And in fact, if they hadn't won the championship last year, we might have been having this conversation a year ago.
Or was this team never really built to repeat? More importantly, if a coach with 2 titles isn't safe, what does that mean for the rest of the league as Caitlin Clark enters the picture? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Think about how wild this is. A coach just gave New York its first ever championship, started the following season with the best opening record they've ever had, and then, boom, she's shown the door. That doesn't usually happen in sports. Most franchises hold on to the person who delivered them history.
That is how bullish this organization is in New York, and how their ownership and management really are looking to just continue upon that success that they were able to get last year. We know that Breanna Stewart said the other day when they lost in game. So I think for New York moving forward, I would expect them to really, again, be bullish in who they go after. We know that they are a WNBA franchise that invests a lot in a lot of resources, a lot of financial, capital into these decisions. Becky Hammond here at Aces Shoot Around, she said she did not love this move for Sandy, and really just spoke to the fact that she is such a quality person and quality coach, and that is such a rare mix for a head coach in all really sports to have.
But instead, Sandy Brondello, someone who looked untouchable, is suddenly without a job. Right away, that creates a paradox that a lot of people are still trying to wrap their heads around. How do you fire a winner? How do you look at a resume stacked like hers and decide it's not enough? The crazy part is her career numbers back it up. She's picked up 271 wins across the league. She's got 2 WNBA titles under her belt, one with the Mercury and now one with the Liberty. That makes her one of the few active coaches who've proven they can actually finish the job when the stage is biggest. In New York, she didn't just sneak by. She overtook every other coach in their history, became the winningest in franchise history, and lifted a city that's been starving for a basketball crown. If you were writing a job application, this is the type of record that screams safe. And yet, it wasn't. So the obvious question drops right in our lap. Why move on from someone with that kind of success? Here's where it gets tricky. Early in the season, the team set themselves up with almost impossible standards. They burst out the gates 9-0, looked untouchable, and fans were already whispering about back-to-back banners. When you set the bar that high, anything less than perfection feels like failure. But then reality hit. The win streak ended, they slid down the standings, and suddenly they weren't invincible anymore. By the end of the season, the same squad that looked like a dynasty in motion was sitting in 5th place, staring at the wrong end of the playoff bracket before getting bounced early.
Sandy Brondello has a great shot of getting hired again. We know what she has done in this league. We know that there's openings in Seattle, for example, in addition to the two. It wouldn't be shocking, though, if they decide to go after maybe someone in the NBA, someone that we might be a little bit more of a non-traditional hire, expansion franchise that are still yet to hire their coaches. So definitely some things to look in developing, weeks and whatnot. But it is the end of an era for sure.
Injuries played their part too. Breanna Stewart had the nagging knee issues that changed how she looked on the floor. Jonquel missed games, which broke up the chemistry they tried so hard to build into that super team lineup. Those setbacks don't erase the talent, but they blur the picture of a dominant season. From the outside, it seemed unfair to hang all that on Brondello, but inside the front office, they saw a roster that was built to win right now and didn't hit the expectation. Fans were split right down the middle on this. Some felt like she was scapegoated, that management panicked, and threw out a proven coach because of a few rough weeks. Others argued the organization had to shake things up because the Liberty weren't built for second-round exits. They were built to dominate every single year. And when you label your team a super team, the pressure doesn't just come from the boardroom. It comes from the media cycle, from fans screaming for a repeat, and from peers watching whether you defend your crown.
I'm really curious about whether or not they're going to go with someone with a lot of experience. That's the thing with Sandy. The Liberty said that the search for their next head coach, it is getting underway immediately. We have heard that before in New York, and we've seen it dry out for weeks, of course, in the NBA. Coaching a veteran squad, it takes someone oftentimes that's been there before. And Alexa, of course, we will continue to check in with you.
That pressure was like a ticking clock. In New York's case, the timing couldn't have been harsher. They created a super team blueprint. But you know what that means. You don't get credit for winning once. You're expected to win every single season. One run isn't enough when you've stacked MVP-level players across the board. It's like the standard changed overnight. Raise the trophy, and then immediately prove you can do it again, even with injuries and adversity. If you can't keep that machine running perfectly, you're out. Now here's something eye-opening. Across WNBA history, very few coaches have raised a trophy and then been out the door within a year or two. Usually that kind of track record buys you breathing room. With Brondello, it didn't. That's a sign of a bigger shift happening across the league. This isn't the old WNBA, where winning once put you in the clear for half a decade. This is a league that looks more like the NBA now, where front offices demand constant dominance, not just a one-off success. And if that's the reality now, think about what it means for a rookie superstar like Caitlin Clark. If veteran coaches with decades of experience aren't safe, imagine how quickly the standard will skyrocket for new stars reshaping the scene and pulling record crowds. Sandy Brondello losing her job isn't just about one coach. It shows the standard in the WNBA has changed for good. A championship or a strong run isn't enough anymore. Teams are expected to stay at the top every single season. That's insane pressure, and it's not going away. Now with Caitlin Clark bringing sold-out crowds and TV ratings spiking, the fever effect is real. So here's the question. Are teams willing to gamble with bold, risky moves just to keep up? Drop your thoughts below. Was this firing smart future planning or a reckless move by New York?